beauty standards? We talked a little bit about this. This got brought up at the beginning. How does that tie into femininity?
Hey ladies and gentlemen, it seems that the previous video you guys liked it way more than I thought, the one about the feminists debating about trans women. Well, guess what? Today they're going to talk about beauty standards, so I'm going to react. Hope you enjoy it. Like, share, the usual. Let's go.
Standards. We talked a little bit about this. This got brought up at the beginning. How does that tie into femininity?
Sorry, I'm very into this idea because I do think it is one of the larger intersections that just doesn't get very discussed, which is, like I was talking about before, barriers and friction are placed up around bodies. And the fatter I get, the older I get, the less people will listen to me, the less value I will have for society. So, you know, I'm already starting out as a woman with no legs. If I had something on my face, I have my beauty. That's one of my privileges. I have my whiteness. That's
Okay, you kind of lost me with that comment.
one of my privileges. I used to have thinness and now I'm getting fatter. Things are changing. And I think every single time that we talk about feminism, pretty privilege should be discussed because we have these ideas. If your skin tone is this, if your hair is this, if your body looks like that, it's about whether or not you are given an equal opportunity based on what you look like.
I saw it.
I think a lot of times the women that complain about beauty standards don't complain about them when they got privilege, when they were young and attractive and thin. So it's like, yeah, you're complaining when the privilege is gone, but privilege is invisible to those who have it, and women.
Sensational.
That pissed her off. I don't know. Maybe. Because you can have a privilege as whiteness and be fat. You have to be skinny.
It's a privilege, and men don't turn 18 and get looks that we get.
Yep.
As a Black woman, one of the most integral parts of the beauty conversation has been colorism. I'm a dark-skinned Black woman, proud of it and proud of being myself. For the most part, I did not. Why am I going to cry about this? Mm-hmm. I did not grow up thinking I was beautiful because I was that. And I think in the Black space, we have these conversations, but I think I'm glad to bring it up because I think feminists actually really should be part of the colorism topic, because colorism is not just shades within being Black, it's shades because the beauty standard is the closer to whiteness you are, the more beautiful you are. I think it's something that if more people in different shades, particularly white women, because of knowing that standard, and we work together on that, then we have a lot, I think, something we can unify on, but also something that we can make strides in right now that I'm just not seeing. And it's only, again, that's why people feel like you have to be a Black feminist.
I do understand that specific Black ladies have a worse experience as men. As a guy, I had that experience. It wasn't like that bad, but I wasn't seen as a beautiful person. But all I had to do, amen. If you don't consider me beautiful, at least you're gonna consider me funny. So that kind of put me like feel in the middle ground, because I could still have people inviting me to party. So it gave me a certain value. But if that was her case, that she preferred to do something else and she has this body, oof. I don't think you need to push it in feminism. It makes no sense. I would vouch for you to exist. But the body type, hey, you have to decide which body you're gonna have. Unless you have a disease that causes this. But other than that, you don't get much sympathy from me. I didn't get sympathy anywhere.
Because it's a topic that only really Black feminists are talking about because it deals with being Black.
Have you ever wondered why red pill or whatever of Black men, we don't talk about it? We just accept, amen. You just draw the wrong cards at a poker game or whatever. Deal with it. Nobody has sympathy for men. Nobody cares about us.
That's what I'm talking about!
How do beauty standards make you feel?
I mean, kind of what you're saying, Antonia. as a Black Latina woman in my community, right? Like, I grew up and I was ugly, right? Like, that's what I was considered. I was not considered beautiful. Of feeling ugly, but also being told I was, right, had a lot to do with what is believed in my community, right? Colorism is one of them. And so to say, I'm gonna redefine beauty for myself, and to say, I own myself, and I get to decide what's beautiful.
I think she is doing a very great part, and I think a lot of people don't take in consideration that specific South American or even Spanish, you don't see a lot of black people representing you. Hey, USA, you had Whoopi Goldberg. Hey man, you had Eddie Murphy, funny, weird, small guy that I could feel a little identified with. In other community, it's way less. Maybe now with the reggaeton, things might have changed a little. I don't know, but it's different now, but there is still a stigma.
Right, and I get to decide what I want to wear and how I want to wear it, and I don't need to.
I like that she just owned herself. You know what, amen, I am who I am, which I decided to do that too. And with time, it shows a different confidence in you.
Right, it's almost a repelling, right? Like, I'm like, no, you know what? I am beautiful. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna feel myself, because if no one else is gonna feel me, it's on me to feel me too.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, I did grow up being referred to as very beautiful for a woman with a disability. And that to me always fed this idea that disability doesn't mean beautiful. I am in some form of exceptionalism, which I then had to keep up with forever. So it's like I got this thought as I started to age, like, you can have no legs, but you better not get fat. And so this idea that, like, there are certain people who are beautiful and certain people who aren't, and that inherently holds value is, I think, you know.
Whoa, I think I live like that. Certain people are just more beautiful, so they get more attention, and that's it. And if they get attention for specific people only for that, I just think those are shallow people, and I don't want them in my ring. That's it. I can judge people on what they consider beautiful and how shallow they can be. If you think like, oh my God, that gives value, I want it too. Oh my God, that is a different self-control issue that I think. Because certain things are not meant for you. And if the grass is always greener on the other side, amen. I have one eye. It was not green.
You know, find it in yourself, yes. And
Jordan?
Beauty standards are toxic bullshit hierarchical nonsense. And I say that as someone who has spent over a year collectively of my life in eating disorder institutions, because I have tried to put my body through hellish things to meet these beauty standards, which more often than not are not based in reality.
But then at the same time, the food that we're eating right now is also not based in reality. Go look at all the pictures of the people in the 80s or 70s when they go to the beach. You will not see any skinny person. So I understand her situation, but the beauty standard, it won't work if people don't buy that stuff.
They're typically trends. They're created to push things. They're extremely useful for marketing, but they don't serve anyone's health. They don't serve anyone's self-esteem. They only act to try and tell us that there's a allegedly right way to have a body. And if you don't occupy that space and have that body, then you're a piece of shit, which is absolute nonsense. And there are way too many women and men in the world who end up doing terrible things to themselves because they fall into this trap of thinking that you have to be this way. And if you aren't this way, then there's something inherently wrong at your core.
Yeah, because the idea that you always need a six-pack and those things, you have certain men that put like weird oil in their arms to make their arms very big. When I look at these people, I don't think they're trying to look good. I just think they have a mental illness or value of the world that is extremely stupid. I don't understand BBL. I can understand a little boob, just a little. But I know a lot of people that had that and they removed it with time. And I know a lot of people that had it too big, and the amount of attention they were getting, it was too much. They removed it. In Holland, a lot of ladies remove their boobs because I don't want to be seen as something that I can play with it, blah, 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 in the face, because Holland is all about big boobs, not big BBL. I don't know anymore, but certain people are not that easily influenced about what other people like. I think that is something that reflects in yourself when you grow up with specific values. And these days, it's all about empowering women.
Which is nonsense. You're perfect the way you are. That's literally the core of it. You are perfect the way you are, and anyone who tries to tell you otherwise is feeding into this industry and is just, they are not your friend or looking out for you.
Layla?
She said you're perfect the way you are. The fact that she said that, it's making me believe that maybe she is trans. Because if you are trans, you're supposed to be happy with your body anyway the way you're born. There seems to be like, I already thought it in the previous episode, but the more I hear her talk, of course beauty standard is going to destroy you. Right? But why the heck are you in the panel?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, beauty in the industry is exploitative, but also we have to remember a lot of the beauty standards are based around health, what's perceived as health, like symmetry, certain weight.
Why did you shake your head? Most beauty standards are based on health. A lot of people that are not very skinny, but skinny standard live way longer than maybe Lady in Red. What are you talking about?
Things like that. So there is that side where we have to balance it, and I think we're seeing so much more representation, which I think is incredibly important.
Well, I just think that like, if women really cared about beauty standards, like the obesity rate wouldn't be what it is.
But what
Let's
about
try and
you?
maintain the beauty standards. I just think like some people are more attractive, some people are less attractive, and that's just.
Yeah, she called it many times that people call her ugly. She actually said it. She knows she's not the beauty standard specifically. She has the height, but not the body type. She's like a volleyball little gangster woman. But still, sometimes she can wear certain clothes and people were like, hey, you look very good in that. It's not like you're the most beautiful, but you're good enough and you have the attitude that makes it look even better. I'm surprised that certain people think they don't have the perfect beauty standard body, as if their attitude cannot amplify it to a different beauty standard. As if men can only see your body. The fact that you only focus on that, I'm like, yo. And if you only can like a person by the outside, hey man, good luck with your future. I mean it with passion.
You know, where would I rate myself 1 to 10? Like,
we're not
you
rating,
know,
it's okay.
That's what I mean. Like, I just think like some people
So
are more
if you
attractive.
are overweight, you don't care about beauty standards.
Well,
is that right?
like the point is that the beauty standard is thin, right?
Your
Yeah,
standard?
but obesity comes from men and
No,
women,
the beauty
though.
standard.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. But I'm saying if women really wanted to fit the beauty standard, they would be thin.
I know, from my experience as well, is growing up, again, in a mostly white neighborhood but I was always comparing myself
Me too, but mine was a white school. Freaking white.
to literally other people who have a different body type, but I was considered other or to something because it didn't conform to that body type. When that same body type became popular with Kim Kardashian, the Kardashians, who are different, right?
Most white ladies didn't even care about the butt. They don't care about it. And suddenly, for some odd reason, something happened in the 2000s, and suddenly it became a thing, and all the ladies started dancing and then putting stuff, and I'm like, okay, you guys are focusing on that, dancing black music, cool, but that's on you, because there's a bunch of ladies that don't care about that, because the men don't care about that in that specific part of that culture. I'm not responsible for what a culture writes, and I don't dictate that. That's some idiot superstar on TV that your kids are watching.
Than me, let's just say, our different skin color, right? And there's a lot of animosity, in a lot of black communities of the fact that when it was on black skin, it was an issue, but when it was on Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians, it was $1 billion business.
Yep.
Stop the cap.
Just because they copy you, but their fan base has more money, that's an issue. And black ladies always had big boss. It was always a gangster thing. I didn't like that. I always liked skinny girls. I always did for a very, very long time. And that changed with time when I met a white woman that liked me for the way I was, freaking skinny, and she had a bigger body, and I was like, damn, this is more interesting than I thought. That's it. And it was amazing. There's nothing to do with black or whatever. It's just that it was her body and she handled it well in a positive way. I don't value the things I like through the music that makes a lot of money. There's a beauty standard over there. I don't make it. But if you want to change something that almost nobody has control over, and every generation it keeps changing, hey man, of course you're going to have a bunch of headache. You know, I'm like, why? It's frustrating for you. I don't play that game.
Is feminism dead?
I think feminism is alive, and I'm thankful to be a participant and believer of it.
I would say, as far as the West goes, I think that feminism has been cannibalized by other movements like leftism, like transgenderism.
So I think feminism is very much alive and well. I think it takes different forms depending on who you're talking to, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And as I've defined in the beginning, for me, I use it as a lens.
I think feminism should be about women's rights. I think it's a good thing in specific places. For example, I don't know, maybe India might need it way more than the Western countries. But right now, it feels like we're just fighting bullies with bully static. And I know bullies will always exist. That needs to be stopped. I'm not doubting that. But the fact it feels like we are looking for the bullies so much that the bullies are so silenced that whatever is left, any mistake, anything misunderstood, will include you in the package of a bully. For me, feminism is really about helping ladies that are treating bad in a very negative way when they are getting bam, bam, bam and all this stuff, money-wise, having babies. That officially for me is feminism. The only reason I was lucky, for example, that I would consider myself beautiful is because I had a woman that did not care nothing about the beauty standard when she had the body for a beauty standard. She literally did not care. When she met me, she was like, guy with a bunch of women, guy with a bunch of women, guy with a bunch of women. That's a skinny black man. He looks kind of sexy. She didn't even notice I was missing an eye with the prosthesis that I had in my head, you know? And she was like, you're cute.
Keep telling yourself that, darling.
Hey man, call it what you want to call it. It's all about opportunity, and once you get the opportunity, you better take advantage of it and make the best of it. If you can, I don't think that would be a problem for feminism. But let me know if I'm a misogynist too.